Oh, hey, welcome, Muddy TV Cribs, to the Taylor's House of Horror Evoloft. This is a 3-story Art Deco building, and each level is, we have retail on the ground floor. Second floor is the main loft. Third floor is primarily Airbnb, and then we also have a basement, which is 6,000 square feet, which houses a movie theater and all sorts of other fun stuff. But yeah, what we're going to be focused on today is primarily second floor because I don't want to disrupt my tenants on the other floors. But yes, it's been a fun labor of love and full of all sorts of adventure. All right, well, basically what you're standing in here is we call the Great Hall. When we got a hold of it in 2003, there was a dance academy here, Jen's Dance Academy. There's been Burnett's Dance Academy here, a bunch of different incarnations of things. But it was one giant open room. Everything was painted white, all the ceiling was whitewashed, and the baseboards were like a pastel purple and then peach, and very dance-centric, I guess, but they sucked all the character out. And where the columns are and stuff were kind of ratted up, and they had the first 8 years owning this place was fixing 80 years of Band-Aid fixes, where instead of skim coating or redoing the things, we'll just put duct tape around a hole in the column and then we'll just skim coat it and paint it type thing. So we've done all sorts of touches to it, modernized all the lighting, got a lot of the old lighting working again, like these glass lights up in the large windows. Electrician buddy of mine got those working again, and they, we've retrofit them all with LEDs and whatnot. But yeah, I do have one of the old standard lightings, but that's what I lose sleep over is the old braided wires and knob and tube and stuff like that. So we put central in here in 2017 or so. And before, it just looks like a giant rocket going through here, but that's really about the only way to cool this space. But it stays pretty temperate during the summer, even when it's like 110 out. Yeah, so back 2003, we had one functional bathroom here on this large floor. And this is just one giant open space. Console and Carbonite. I got traded a bunch of toys when back in '97. I was down in Orlando, and so we built a little alcove out, and then we got the Nest thermostat there to simulate unfreezing him. Little unknown fact: Harrison Ford's face, stuntman's body. So, but it's plaqued, and before the prequels came out, they pulled all the licensing, so that thing is worth a pretty penny. But I could never imagine it not being there. So yes, bathroom here. We salvaged the stalls out of the back separate building, which is an old ice warehouse that we don't own, and they're just divided. But we actually have 2 separate toilets in here. So I've raised 2 kids here. I figured they were going to be fighting over the toilets, so that way they can poop in unison or whatever. But somebody just gave us the clawfoot tub. We finished that. Somebody gave us the barn sink. We finished that. But when my grandkid was born, this used to be our Shining themed bathroom, and we had bloody handprints all over this, and had famous monsters of Filmland did a promo thing on it and everything like that. So we don't do normal, but more doors that we turned into chair rails here. So we made it more Creature from the Black Lagoon, Undersea themed. But yeah, the fun bathroom is my bathroom in my room, but I'll show you my son's room. Yeah, I'm more of a Star Wars guy than a Star Trek guy. My dad actually took me out of school when I was 5 years old to see it originally. And then all the superhero stuff from the store kind of came up here. And I have a friend in wherever Notre Dame is in Indiana. He has a print shop and he does all these renderings of superheroes, and he's super prolific at it and travels the world doing Comic-Cons, doing it. So we used to have a superhero challenge down at the shop. If you could name every single one without missing a beat, you'd get whatever on the menu free. And I had one girl do it and hired her on the spot. And she's still an awesome person. And Marty Nodell, who created the Green Lantern, was a friend of mine. He passed away, I think, in 2001 or so. He also created the Pillsbury Doughboy, which was pretty great for an ex-ad guy to have those 2 luminaries on your thing. It was pretty cool. But yeah, my son's a huge collector of all things, from speed racer to comics to now he's getting into wrestling stuff, and it's kind of a logical progression. But yeah, all the bedrooms have walk-in closets. He's like, no, don't let them in there. I've got all my toys in there. So we essentially built a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house inside this space here while maintaining the loft feel to it. And then when you have an old building like this, people just give you things. So we try to reintroduce old stuff, do green builds. Like these timber right here that I built the bar out of, lean bar, those were actually holding the old birdcage elevator pulleys, which themselves probably weighed a ton. But these things are wild, and I just degreased them. You can actually still see the strapping marks there. And just did a food safe epoxy on them, but center cut piece of wood like that, you just can't find anymore. But we did have a collector out of Taylorville come and buy the old elevator from us because they had sealed the shaft up during the Depression. They couldn't rent it out as a whole department store anymore, so they busted it up into separate storefronts downstairs. And then this was a whole, there's another floor above this, so they would have like one business up there and then another business here. And actually Harvey's Furniture was up here. Now they're out on North 12th. But their motto was take steps to save. So, and like the window boxes up there, they actually had stages where they would put living room sets and bedroom sets and stuff like that back in the cable car days when you could see, and it was, you know, boomtown downtown. I did leave the middle stage, but I did like the woodwork underneath the windows that they just covered up. So, but yeah, it's great view, parade wise, 10 dusters wise, it's amazing. Just open up the windows and just, it's.
So you got more places upstairs too?
Yeah, we've been working on doing Airbnbs up there. We've, total, I think we've 7 or so, but yeah, we've been booked solid for 9 years. So we have a lot of travel nurses. We do have long-term tenants as well who work around town. So it's a kind of, it's fun, own little insulated community type deal. And then we're giant nerds. So we've introduced everything from my background in concert production. And then I've worked with different movie studios and stuff. Plus just as a collector, you just find cool stuff all over the country and just bring it in. But like the doors, actually, all the doors came out of the old Newcomb Hotel before it burnt down. They had replaced them all with steel doors, and they were sitting in the old Armory building that my ex-brother-in-law owned, and a noted hoarder in town was trying to steal them all, and we got a hold of them and just reintroduced them and built out the doorways. So it's got the vintage feel, but everything's been modernized, redone all the power, redone all the plumbing. Okay, so when we did the project, we couldn't find a contractor who would touch it. And we decided I just act as my own general contractor, hired out certified guys, bonded guys to do stuff here. Kind of ran out of money on the kitchen, so we just did it kind of open galley style. Gym City Cabinetry was getting rid of a display model, so we got that and that with the sink, with the granite and everything. And then, yeah, I think we put the kitchen together for $1,500 or something, super cheap. These appliances nowadays are basically disposable. So I've had this guy for about 20 years. It's freestanding freezer and a freestanding fridge.
Let's see what's in it.
All right, we'll start.
We got to see what's in them.
All right, well, we do support local businesses, but I do have a weak spot for Trader Joe's. So whenever I do a show down in St. Louis, I do a Trader Joe's run. So a lot of fruit, do smoothies every day. This is just kind of the central fridge, and we cook some crazy meals here. We've cooked for upwards of 100 people here. And then the fridge, same sort of thing, just, you know, we don't have any alcohol in the house, just, it's all pretty healthy stuff, but we throw down. We have an executive chef who lives here, and we just do these collaborative big meals, especially like when we have Airbnb people from out of town. We'll grill downstairs and just do a whole spread. Then we just trade for stuff, like we call it the Miami Beach table. You know, just the Formica table right here. I traded a aluminum Christmas tree for this, and this thing itself weighs upwards of 150 pounds. It's super heavy, and I had to roll it up the steps, but like Illinois School Supply is great. Right down here, you get amazing chairs for next to nothing. The pool table is a 1964 Brunswick. It had never had a game played on it, I do believe. All the balls and all the cues were still in cellophane. And a dentist in town passed away, and Scott from Salvation Army does like mid-century stuff. And he calls me, he's like, "You want this?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." And once we got it up 31 steps, it was not gonna leave. But this is the old cash wrap from Carl's Shoes. yeah, just kind of make it eclectic and fun. And these came out of Second String Music, all the display cabinets, and we're big toy hounds. So my son has got a myriad of DC Comics figures. I've been a rabid collector for 40 plus years. So, and then yeah, we've actually run out of space for that, and we do have a couple extra toy rooms that are kind of secret hidden rooms, built off other rooms. We have hidden bookcases in the basement and stuff like that when we did haunted houses and whatnot. And those do have LED lights in them. I just couldn't figure out how to turn them on. We used to have a life-size Silver Surfer here that one of our customers had given him, but buddy of mine has an auction house here in town, and he'd always wanted it, and my Jeep engine blew up, and I needed a little infusion of cash to replace that engine, so it's a couple blocks over if I need to visit him. But we decided to just put the Demon Bat up there. Halloween, 24/7 here. Don't do any Christmas whatsoever, or really any other holidays. And yeah, we just make it fun. And if you got 16-foot ceilings, why not introduce 12-foot skeletons and pumpkin gods and Wolfman and Frankenstein and stuff like that. We do events here. Like this weekend, we're doing WrestleMania up here and having a bunch of people hanging out. But yeah, for parades like Dogwood Parade, it's great watching here. For 10 dusters, you've got unobstructed view, and it's pretty nice. And we just sit here and judge people from afar. But yeah, a lot of like almost all this stuff has been salvaged or reconditioned. That came out of St. Louis. This was a Sharp display cabinet I got down in Clearwater, Florida. This was, somebody fabbed this out of like garden spikes or tree whatevers, but they're super heavy duty and it's kind of metal. So this is, as far as I know, the only existing 18-foot long Jaws theme table in the world. So, and it actually has swimming action. So everything's super colorful, super fun. Yeah, the collectibles have spread up here even. People are like, oh, why don't you put beds up there? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want people falling to their doom in the middle of the night. But when you're talking about Subway size movie posters and stuff, a friend of mine I was actually in Boy Scouts with back in Virginia called me, saw this at a estate sale. I believe it's an Italian version of The Shining. And I liken mine being called to this building as Jack Torrance being called to work at the Overlook, just without the craziness and homicidal tendencies. So, the egg chairs, I'd wanted them for 25 years. When I sold the shop the first time around, some guy in North Carolina had those. He'd taken his family to Disney, his roof caved in, and these were wrapped in plastic, and these were the only thing to survive. And I got them for a song, but also didn't realize I couldn't fit them up the steps. So that was fun, trying to get those in. Huge Flash Gordon nerd. Sam Jones is a friend of the shop, and finally found an old one sheet from 1981. But he was very complimentary to everything, and just like, how has nobody ever put together, you know, nerdy ice cream stuff? And it's like, well, they have, but like, it's just one of those iconic films for me, like artistically, music-wise, with Queen doing the soundtrack. Plus, I think I'm the only person who has a black velvet sleeve stack, as far as I know. And that was a gift to myself. Some guy in Mexico painted it all up for me. Ramones are my all-time favorite band. They played my high school back in Virginia back in the 80s, and then played my 23rd birthday party in Denver. And yeah, I worked Lollapalooza '96 with them on their farewell tour. So, and I'm still friends with Marky and Richie and CJ for the ones who are still alive. But this is our Shining themed bathroom. If you're gonna go obsessive about a film, kind of introduce it all. So we saved the bloody handprints on this one, but people just give you Shining themed stuff. The girl who painted the mural gave me this kind of composite poster of everything. Plus you can't have a Shining bathroom without a bloody axe. So, but even like we were at the Hannibal Comic-Con and found a rendition of the Joker with the Jack Torrance thing. My buddies in the Descendants have a side band called All, and they had a poster that was, you know, everything's Shining. You got to go all the way around with it. But it's great when you get out of the shower. You have the Grady twins staring you down. The building is haunted in a good way, but yeah, it's fun. So we don't list this actually on Airbnb. I have it the old version when it was more sanitized and not Shining themed, so it's always kind of a nice little surprise for people. All right, it's been a pleasure, guys, but I got stuff to do. It's time to get out. and don't make me phase
Oh,
you.
jeez. Oh, okay.
Disintegrate
All right,
you.